I could spend the next 10 minutes simply bringing you back from metaverse to reality. But then, I think how do you top that up, right? Like metaverse is a new big thing, and we all are excited about it. But we at ShareChat and Moj are also excited about what's happening in Bharat. Now, just taking a step back, the last 5 years, I've been very closely associated with cricket. And I genuinely believe that cricket was the only thing in this country that could actually grab and hold the attention of Indians. That myth got busted in the last 30 years. There is a revolution happening in India right now. It's happening right in front of our eyes, and yet we are oblivious to it. And that revolution is the short-form video revolution. You know, I got an opportunity to talk to a lot of marketers in the last month or so. And I realized that there are myths that are floating around about short-form video audiences, short-form video platforms. And we thought that this was the perfect opportunity for us to actually break some of those myths. And that's why we picked this as the topic. You know, before I get to the bursting of the myths part, I have to do the ritualistic introduction of ShareChat and Moj, so I'm going to do that. Sorry, I don't have a clicker here. Okay, you know, the way we have always defined Bharat is not so much in terms of the geographical limits, but actually in terms of the language preferences that we have as Indians. And we basically split India and Bharat into, you know, people who are more comfortable communicating in English versus people who are actually more comfortable communicating in their own native languages. If you were to just look at the split itself, you've got 125 billion people who sit in the first bucket, but you've got 1.17 billion people who sit in the second bucket. When we speak to a lot of people, people tend to believe that these 1.17 billion people don't know English. That is not true. They actually do know English. It's just that their preference of communication is their native language. They're rooted in their community. They choose to actually consume a lot of regional media rather than actually consuming English media, right? So those are sort of some of the high-level differences between Bharat and India today. Now, when it comes to short-form video itself, you know, this is a report that came out sometime back from Bain, and smartphone numbers are anyway growing, everyone knows that, but short-form video in itself in 2020 was about 200 million audiences that were actually doing some sort of short-form videos. That number is supposed to go up to 600 million by 2025. And that growth in short-form video is also reflecting on how Moj as a platform is evolving. So we started in 2020, we had 50 million people who were actually engaging with our platform. That number is supposed to go up to, is already at 160 million in 2022. So we are the biggest beneficiaries of the short-form video revolution that's happening in this country. Just taking a quick step back here on who are these audiences. So what you're seeing on the left is essentially our ShareChat audience profile at a very high level. On the right side is the Moj audience profile. ShareChat essentially is your window to the world in the language that you are comfortable with. And that's how people are actually consuming content on ShareChat today. Right? 45% of the people of the people on ShareChat are still coming from the tier 1 and tier 2 cities and towns of this country. That's about 80 million people, that's not a small number. So 80 million people on ShareChat are actually coming from the tier 1 and tier 2 towns of the country. Moj, on the other hand, essentially gives you an opportunity to express your passions, your interests, your talents in all your authentic glory. It's not about putting out the most polished video out there. There are other platforms who are doing it. But Moj essentially allows you to be as authentic as you can be and put yourself out there for the people to actually see you and follow you. 87% of our Moj audiences today are actually coming from tier 1 and tier 2 towns. That's about 139 million people on a monthly basis. I'll just break it down a little further. Today we are getting about 40 million people to come on the platform on a daily basis. That's a DAO that we get on Moj. People who are actually coming on a daily basis. So let's quickly jump to the myths. And the first one that we have heard in so many of our conversations with advertisers, with marketers, is that Bharat audiences are not affluent. It's absolutely wrong. Today, when you look at, and if you talk to different brands, there are so many pieces that have come out in PR. Samsung is selling its flagship devices more in tier 2, tier 3 towns than they're selling in tier 1 now. BMW's biggest showroom is actually in Ludhiana, and they're selling more BMWs outside of tier 1 than they're selling more BMWs outside of tier 1. And the real estate growth that we are seeing in this country is today actually coming from the tier 2 and tier 3 cities of the country. And if you were to look at our own data, like the Moz data that we have collated, we have looked at how these people are actually engaging with different consumption categories, right? And you would see that the affinity that Bharat and tier 2, tier 3 is showing towards these different consumption categories is actually much stronger than the affinity that tier 1 is actually showing for these exact same categories, right? Whether it's games, news, food and drinks, that affinity is already there. Bharat is super, super aspirational. And that's why you would see that the growth of online commerce is actually much faster in Bharat than it's actually in India. The second one, the short form video audiences are only doing casual content consumption. Now, this is a report that just came out in July. It's a Red Seer research. And I'm sure you have also experienced this, right? Today, when you actually go on a long form video platform, you basically don't watch content. You spend 5-10 minutes just surfing through the content, trying to figure out what is it that you want to watch. That is not the case with short form video platforms. People are super, super engaged on a platform like Moz, where they're spending on an average 31 minutes a day, just browsing through all the short form videos that are available in your feed. Also, the same study talked about how people who are actually consuming long form video content, their affinity towards long form is actually dipping. I think there's a significant chunk. 68% of the people actually showed an increase in consumption on the short form video side, whereas only 10% of the people showed an increase towards long form video content. So short form video is definitely up on the rise. It is highly engaging. It is not casual, passive content consumption. Now, within this space, the myth that we talked about, which is, hey, this is just casual content consumption, I think it comes from the belief that the content is only on the lines of entertainment and fashion, right? So you would see two of our top influencers on Moz, right? So Adil Khan and Shivani, they're two of our top influencers, and obviously they are putting out videos in the entertainment and fashion category. And yes, there is no denying the fact that these are the most prominent categories on the platform. Having said that, #Learn on Moz is a new property that we introduced, and we are seeing massive traction there because you've got categories like finance, do it yourself, growing on that platform, right? And we've got now emerging influencers who are actually communicating in your language, my language, and giving details on, how do you invest, what is cryptocurrency, what is NFT, what is metaverse. These conversations are actually happening in 15-second windows now. They're not happening in 20-minute videos and half-an-hour videos. People are taking 15 seconds to explain what is happening in metaverse. And I'll give you a few examples of this.
भाई मैंने इस साल स्टॉक मार्केट से 4,50,000 का प्रॉफिट बुक किया है। क्या बात है भाई, फिर टैक्स का क्या सोचा है भाई? तो क्या आउटडेटेड रहता है? तेरे को नहीं पता गवर्नमेंट की न्यू टैक्स स्लैब के अकॉर्डिंग मुझे 5 लाख तक कोई भी टैक्स पे नहीं करना है। मतलब तू भी कंफ्यूज हो गया ना? रुक मैं समझाता हूँ। जिनकी एक 60 से कम है उनका टैक्स स्लैब अभी भी 2.5 लाख रुपीज है, और जिनकी एक 60 से ज्यादा है उनका टैक्स स्लैब है 3 लाख रुपीज है, जिनकी एक 80 से ज्यादा है उनका टैक्स स्लैब है 5 लाख रुपीज, यानी कि उनको 5 लाख तक जीरो टैक्स पे करना है। ओ
समझ नहीं आता है चतुर्भुज को क्या बोलते हैं और त्रिभुज को क्या बोलते हैं। तो चतुर्भुज को इंग्लिश में बोलते हैं क्वाड्रिलेटरल और त्रिभुज को इंग्लिश में बोलते हैं ट्रायंगल। अब आप लोग मुझे नीचे कमेंट करके ये बताइएगा कि वृत्त को इंग्लिश में क्या बोलते हैं।
The first example, I wish my CA could speak that language because then I would probably be saving a lot more money on my tax file. right? That the flow of conversation is a casual flow, but it actually imparts really meaningful knowledge to the viewers. And this is what the Gen Zs of this country are actually consuming today. And that's why it's super critical for us as marketers to actually understand the format, the language, the tonality in which consumers today are consuming this content.
ब्रो तेरा बैंक अकाउंट तुझे कितना इंटरेस्ट देता है? यही कुछ 5% के आसपास। हाँ, मेरा बैंक तो मुझे 7% इंटरेस्ट देता है। वो 7% तो अपने पैसों पे नहीं ले पा रहा। क्या सच्ची? हाँ, क्योंकि अगर तू बैंक की वेबसाइट पे जाएगा और ध्यान से पढ़ेगा तो तुझे पता चलेगा कि जो पैसा तू 5 लाख से ऊपर रख रहा है उन्हीं पैसों पे बैंक तुझे 7% इंटरेस्ट देगा और उतना पैसा तो तेरे पास रहेगा नहीं।
You see, you could take a very serious tone to pass on this message to the consumers, which is what typically banks have been doing. Or you could actually take the tone that the Gen Zs are speaking in and get them to really understand the seriousness of a messaging like this, right? And this is why a short form video platform like Moj can create a huge difference when it comes to giving your message to your audiences. The last myth that I want to touch upon is storytelling cannot happen in short form. We come across as a short form video platform. One of the biggest strengths that we have is that we are able to predict the trends that are about to happen in this country much faster, much sooner than anyone else, right? Because we tap into the messages that are coming onto our platform, what's getting the most engagement, what's getting the most likes, what's getting the most shares, and that tells us what are the emerging trends in this country. And if there are brands who are actually working very closely with us in tapping onto those trends. And one clear example that I want to show you here is basically makeup tutorials that are not, again, 15 minutes long, but in 20 seconds someone talks about how to put makeup on your face. So you see, the first two videos were essentially user-generated videos on our platform. When they start to get traction, we actually work very closely with, let's say, a brand like Sugar, where we are able to tap into that upcoming trend and with the help of some of our key influencers, we are actually able to immediately reach out to the audiences that Sugar would actually want to reach out. Similarly, one request that we make to our marketers is please don't treat us like you would treat any other digital video platform. Short form video has its nuances. We know precisely what works on a short form video platform, and that's why don't give us a 2-minute edit and expect us to deliver high CTRs and high VTRs, because that's not what the platform stands for. An example that I want to give you here, actually two examples. The first one is for an iPhone unveiling that happens in a long form sort of a format, and an iPhone unveiling that happens in a very short form video style with only music, no conversation at all.
Hey guys, good morning and yes, आज हम लोग आए हैं iPhone 13 Pro की डिलीवरी लेने। आप देख सकते हो पीछे की तरफ यहाँ पे बहुत ही सज धज के से डेकोरेशन किया है हमारे लिए iPhone 13 Pro के लिए। एंड सुबह के बज चुके हैं 9, एक्चुअली 8 बजे से ही डिलीवरी चालू हो चुकी है iPhone 13 Pro।
So video like this. The first video done on one of the world's largest video platform actually managed to get 60,000 views. The second video, which was actually done on Moj, and you saw there was no text, there was no verbalization, that actually managed to get 167k views, right? So you can only leverage the power of the platform if you actually stick to the nuances of that particular platform. Similarly, we have one influencer who's there on both the platforms, and I'll just quickly touch upon this as well. Again, doing a video in a landscape format, doing a long form video versus doing a short form video in a portrait format, it makes a huge difference on a platform like ours because consumers today are actually consuming those videos while holding the phone straight and not, tilting them in the landscape format. The other big differentiator that we have is with respect to how do you leverage our influencer community to reach out to audiences. What we have seen is when you give your brand ads or when you play your brand ads on a platform like Moj, the engagement levels are not as high as you could actually get if you were to use the creator community that Moj has. And we do videos like this one.
तूने मेरे से पैसे उधर लिए थे वापस कब करेगा भाई मैं रवि सर्कल थोड़ी हूँ जो इंस्टेंट मनी ट्रांसफर करे हाँ वो बात भी सही वो तो 100% सेफ एंड सिक्योर है तेरे
बेटा ये देख जैसा तुझे चाहिए था बिल्कुल वैसा ही रिश्ता आया है
अच्छा क्या उसे ट्रैवलिंग करना पसंद है फ्राइडे टू फ्राइडे
So I don't know if we have any eligible best bachelors, but do go to Bharat Matrimony. If you're into Rummy, do go to Rummy Circle. But having said that, for both those platforms, we actually managed to bring down the acquisition costs quite significantly. And the reason we were able to do that was because we didn't rely solely on the brand community, the brand ads, but we actually built these creatives using our network of influencers. So on that note, the parting message that I want to give is the short form video tsunami is right at our doorstep. And Moj is absolutely ready to work with advertisers, with marketers to actually help you leverage the strength that the platform has to actually ride that tsunami quite comfortably. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Abid.